Hi everyone, Jamie A, aka Blind Builder 1974, and I'm in with what might be the much anticipated room tour. Sorry for the glare, first off. I don't have curtains in here and it's bright, but the brightness is kind of necessary because I don't have that much light in here yet either at night, so it's kind of hard to see stuff once the sun goes down. So we kind of had to take the lesser of the evils there. So I guess we'll start with the work area. There's this big bunch of cabinets. Just ignore those because there's nothing Lego oriented in them. It's just extra stuff. Nothing you'd want to see. I do have the family house down here that I have not started on yet. Hopefully that will be really soon. Just haven't quite gotten around to it yet, but I'm kind of thinking that might be in the making fairly quick. So maybe next week or so, just depending on how much time I have. Here is the work area. Surprisingly, it's still fairly clean. We've got some Lego catalogs and magazines there. Sorting trays here. I've got my Bluetooth speaker here. Flashlight, which comes in really handy when you're trying to find pieces that have fallen on the floor. I've got another little storage area there with some just odds and ends stuff. I've got Mr. Turkey that I'm kind of gotten set to take apart now that Thanksgiving's almost over. And then this is just more odds and ends pieces from stuff. There's a couple of instructions I need to put away. Odds and ends pieces that I'm either going to put away or use are in there. That is my latest build, which I will do a video on separately so you can get a quick look and we move on. Here is the computer area, which I move everything back to build, move everything forward when I want to use the computer or the webcam. Works pretty well so far. The desk has, pretty good size space for working, so you can spread out fairly good in here. Couple of built Star Wars sets back there, just kind of hanging around. A couple of those are the newer ones, and then a couple are kind of old, kind of the micro build from the episode 2 era. I think I've just got them sitting back there for the time being. I'm gonna have to work on storagey kind of display stuff. Luckily, I've got the space on top here that I could probably use for doing some displays once I get everything kind of going. The only thing is the micro builds and the smaller things really kind of don't look very well up there because you can't see that much of them. But for the bigger stuff, that probably would work fairly well once I get things organized a little more. So you keep coming around. We have the official Pixar lamp. Which it came to my attention one day that it looks pretty much like the one that they use in their intro, which is kind of cool. The next stop is Mom's laptop, which I've still been borrowing for the webcam, because I think what's happening is the desktop computer I'm using down there is just not, the internet signal is just not strong enough with the wireless antenna I'm using right now to pull the internet signal, and when you're trying to do streaming video and stuff, I just don't think it's got enough juice to do it. So Mom's laptop has been working for that, so she's letting me hold on to it for a little bit. That other big clunky looking TV thing there is a closed circuit television, which basically magnifies stuff to get it where you're able to see it better. And being that I don't have good vision and not everything comes in Braille, I wish it did, but since it doesn't, sometimes I have to put something under there and magnify it to be able to read it. So that's what that's about. I don't use it all the time, but once in a while it kind of, when you're in a pinch needing to read something and you can't get it any other way. So it kind of works for that. Back there we won't stay on too much. It's just my craft collection, my craft stuff and art supplies, my CD collection, old pictures, odds and ends. Nothing really fancy. My drum set is in here too. This is where I use as a practice space. I've played drums for over 10 years now. Still take lessons. Still working on that. Don't always have time to practice every day, but I try to do it several times a week. So I think the drums are kind of good cohabitors with the Lego. I can come out here and this is kind of my fun space. So just a quick hello and goodbye to that. And then now we come to the main event, which is the display table for the fledgling city / town, whatever you want to call it. And then the storage space for the actual Lego. There's a couple things new that I haven't videoed yet that I will. I built the little smaller house that I got for Christmas back there. I forget the actual name of it, but it's there. I also did a water feature / park kind of area, and I'm going to do a video on that, so I won't hold too long on that, but I'll just let you see where it is in relation to everything else and how that's going. I've got a few cars and things that I've built. The monster truck is there. I've got a couple of little bikes, the little bike sets that were there. Just a few other vehicle odds and ends. Right now I've got a couple of vehicles there that aren't even minifig scale. The Mini Cooper is there, and there's another sports car that's there that really technically, if you're going to get down to the nitty-gritty of it, would not fit, but it will kind of do as a space filler-upper until I can get more minifig scale vehicles. So I'm going to kind of let them be there for the time being, and then I'll swap them out when I can do better. The construction Bobcat's over there too, and it's not minifig scale either, but I thought, well, it'll mark the spot kind of where there's going to be construction going on. So I've kind of got that spot up there in mind for the family home once I get it built. So I'm thinking he will just mark off wherever I think I'm going to work next, just as a little fun thing to kind of do. And as you can tell, I'm still going to have plenty more room to expand. Definitely won't be out of room even after I do all that. The only thing is I haven't gotten the board underneath to kind of help where the seams in the table meet. I've kind of got the plates kind of put together as best I can, but if you move stuff around too much, it does shift. So I will eventually getting around to getting to the hardware store and getting a flat piece of plyboard or something of that nature to go under there so that it's the road plates and everything can sit flush. That's one reason why I haven't put as much stuff out there yet, is because I know I'm going to have to move it all to do that. So that's why maybe I haven't gotten into that family home yet. On second thought, maybe that's why I haven't done that. Perhaps it might be a better idea to wait to get the bigger structures up after I know I don't have to move them again. But I don't know. It'll just depend. I may go ahead for it. So let me go ahead and show you kind of where the Lego is, now that you've kind of seen where the display area is. I've got these two Sterilite containers that hold the main part of the colored Lego. The way I tend to work is I tend to separate right now anything that I use a lot, black, white, tan, your shades of gray, you know, that sort of thing. If you're going to be using a lot for buildings or that sort of thing, I tend to make those their own area. So anything that's like that is going to be in the cabinet. And then all the really colorful Lego is in this container. And so I've kind of got it organized kind of, in this one not so much by colors obviously, but by the kind of piece it is. So we start off at the top. There is a butter container that is full of 1x1 bricks. So just nothing but 1x1s. Oops, we got an escapee here. These two containers are nothing but colored 1x2s. So if you're kind of thinking small and working your way down to the big. So that's that one. In fact, this whole white container is nothing but 1x's, except for one little space. These are 1x3s of any color. 1x4s. So we're kind of thinking hierarchically and logically. We have 1 by 6, 8, 10, 12, whatever you can go there. Mostly 6s and 8s. Maybe a couple 10s in there. And then this is kind of where we start with the 2 bys, because these are the 2 by 6, 8, 10s in this basket back here. Now we're down into the green container. And for that one, everything starts being 2 by. So we start off small again. This is nothing but 2 by 2s. You can tell there are a great many of those. Probably got more of those than anything else. Next drawer is 2 by 3s, and there's not quite as many of those. Next drawer down are your typical 2 by 4s. So that's all the colored ones. And I would like to eventually get to the point where I separate them by color, but my collection is still pretty small by comparison. It's pretty big considering just the amount of time I've been collecting, and pretty big in when compared to some other collections, but in comparison to some of the bigger, nicer collections, it's still pretty small yet. So eventually I would like to separate everything down by color and then get them into the shoebox size containers. That's kind of what I'm looking at next. But for right now, until these drawers start to fill up a little bit more, I think there's no need in rushing into that. So, there's all the colored brick. And then if you move to these 2 cabinets here, this is all the stuff that kind of doesn't fit into another good category. At the top is just extra base plates. Some of this is minifigure related items. This container right here is just special pieces, wheels, doors, windows. I've got a boat in there. Just there again, anything that would not fit into another category. You've got a container full of antennas there. This container, which is open and shouldn't be, is like special pieces, interlocking pieces, that sort of thing. This container here is full of lamppost parts. These containers here are the really small stuff. This is the opaque small stuff, studs, cheese slopes. Won't go on detail on that, but that's what that is. The one underneath it is anything trans that's small. So trans, cheese slopes, studs. And then I have this container here, which is still not as small as the stuff that's in here, but still relatively small. So like tiles, seats, miscellaneous kind of things. That's where that goes. Then the cabinet under here starts to kind of be where a lot of the most used things are. So this is all black, white, and gray and tan variations. And so they all kind of reside there, and they're in smaller quantities. Obviously you don't get as many of those, and I've got them in containers where it's fairly easy to reach because this is what I use most. So there's that. And of course you've got the container of brick separators right there up front. And then this next container, this next shelf I should say, is, first of all, this is just miscellaneous extra containers. And then this is slopes and plates. And there again, I've kind of got them separated up a little bit. The plates, there's a basket of colored plates, and then there's a basket of black, white, gray, and tan. I've also got them separated, bigger plates in a basket, smaller plates in a container of some sort that holds them better. And then my slopes, I've just got them all together, black, white, colors, whatever you have it, and they're just in this big green top container together. Now obviously you can't really reach up to that top shelf really good, so it's still just miscellaneous stuff. With the table here, obviously you can't reach to the bottom, so I took the most accessible 3 shelves, and then that's the ones I decided to clean out to put stuff for Lego. So that kind of gives you an idea of how I organize and how you go about, at least how I go about figuring out how to do that. Everybody has their own system, and that's one thing I'll say is if you're going to think you're going to start organizing, There are tons of ways you can do it. You can do it by set, obviously. You know, keeping the bags that it comes in and keeping the boxes. Sometimes I do store away some of the bags, but I don't keep the boxes. It's just too bulky, and I don't have storage space for all of that in here. There's more. You can tell what I use. I try to repurpose for a lot of the containers, and coffee cans and food containers and things like that are free. You know, you just wash them out and you can reuse them. You've paid for it anyway. You might as well use it. So I've tried to do that to avoid having to buy a whole bunch of commercial containers, you know, that sort of thing. But so I may stick with those in the long run, or I may not. But for right now, it's working. But the point I'm trying to make here is if you think you're going to do some organizing, you need to just kind of figure out for yourself what works. Obviously, you can kind of look and see what everybody else is doing, which is really cool. But then in the end, you've kind of got to say, okay, what works for me? And for me, I found out that black, white, gray, and tan needed to be separate because I use those more. It was fine for the color bricks to kind of be together for right now because I use those for certain things, but not all the time. So it's no big deal to have to separate a few colors out if you need pieces for a certain project or whatever. Later, if the collection expands, then I will keep trimming down and kind of keep sorting and making more categories. But for right now, that works pretty good for me. So that kind of gives you an overview of what is happening. I'm definitely going to start doing updates for this city thing kind of going on. I'm going to have a video up of the water feature and up of the smaller house over there that I forget the name for. I'll figure it out before I make the video so that I have it right. But I will definitely be adding videos for this, and we'll have regular city town updates for what happens there. I'm also wanting to get some sig figs in there, either by trading out sig figs or by just outright purchasing sig figs. So that will probably be a kind of a slow process, though, so just kind of bear with me. But eventually I hope to have a lot of the more recognized folks' sig figs in there somewhere. That is kind of one of my plans for the future, so just bear with me and give me time to work on getting that accomplished, but it'll happen. I've got a couple I can start off with. I've got my sig fig and I've got Big B's sig fig, so we can start from there and then we'll work our way through it. Speaking of Big B, I'm waiting on a package to come from him. I think you've probably already, most of you may have seen the reverse haul that he did on it, and he did give me a mock what I think you're going to mock challenge. And I did accept on that. I love doing those. So as soon as the pieces get here, which should be, I think, Monday, probably, I'll get to work on that. That's going to be the next project is Big B's Mock What I Think You're Going to Mock challenge. And then we might get to work on this family house after that. But in the meantime, I've got some things to catch you up on. We'll have Mr. Spaceship over here. We'll have the water feature in the park and the smaller house at the back there that I've got to catch you guys up on. So look for those. Definitely more things to come. I am going to try to spread them out. I may video them all in one day, but I'm probably not going to upload them all in one day. Seems better to kind of filter them out and not let them just upload all at once and be bombarded with them. Because then it's kind of like, oh yeah, new stuff. You watch it all. Okay, fun's over. Nah, we'll spread them out. Alright, well, I'm thinking this is probably going to wrap this up. This is already pretty long as it is, but at least it gives you a little sense of the room I'm in and the space I work in. There again, possibly organizational ideas for people that are looking for, okay, I've got all this Lego now. How do I store it? What do I do? How do I make it accessible to me? And there's definitely a fine line between having it in some sort of organized fashion that's not just all in one big container thrown together, but still not having it so organized to the point where you can't find what you have anymore. I think I've got a good happy medium right now. I do have to look through a lot of containers sometimes, and not all of them are see-through, which I have found can be a disadvantage. I love repurposable see-through containers, but you don't find as many of the see-throughs as you do the opaques, so I have to kind of deal with what I got. But it is easier when part of the container is clear, and then you can readily ascertain what's in the container, because sometimes you do, especially with the little sour cream containers and whatnot. I put really small stuff in. Sometimes I do forget what's in there, and sometimes you can shake it and get an auditory clue, but then sometimes it still doesn't totally answer the question for you, so you have to go through and open them, and well, it takes some time sometimes, and that's kind of what I'm doing now. I'm probably wasting more time with more info than you'll really like to have. So with that, this is Jamie A., Blind Builder 1974, and I'm out.